Every individual has a name for easy identification, and it is also for the same reason that the National Identity Number was introduced in Nigeria by the federal government. The National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, established by Act Number 23 of 2007, has the mandate to establish, own, operate, maintain, and manage the national identity database in Nigeria, register persons covered by the Act, as well as assign a unique national identification number to citizens of Nigeria and non-Nigerians legally residing in the country. On this episode of Frontiers, we shall be taking a look at NIN enrollment, successes and challenges the Commission is faced with in the discharge of its mandates. My name is Obiageli Ugoke, and our guest on today's edition is the Director General and CEO of the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, Aliyu Aziz Abubakar. Glad to have you on the program.
Thank you very much, Obi.
The program continues shortly. Just stay with us. Once more, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you, Obi.
Now, Mr. Abubakar, since December 15th, 2020, when the journey of SIM-NIN registration started, every single Nigeria has been struggling and hustling to get registered. I want to ask, what is unique about the National Identification Number, NIN?
Well, you know, in the 21st century, for you to identify an individual, then there are so many characteristics that you need to do. What is unique with the individual is the biometrics. And when we get the biometrics, then we process the biometrics and then issue a unique number. So that number is unique to the individual, and it is the biometrics at the back end that ensures that uniqueness. And it is similar to other nations that have, like in the US, social security number, and they take the biometrics of the individuals and issue them unique number. The latest one was done by India, where they enroll more than 1.3 billion people within a short period of time, and issued them a number they call Aadhaar, and it means foundation in one of their languages there. So the uniqueness of the number, that it is a foundation, it is a foundational identity for the society, and also for all the other numbers are called functional numbers. Like if you have a driver's license, so that number is for driving. You can also have a BVN for the banking sector, which is for banking, and you can also have a passport number for traveling. So all those ones are called functional identities. But the NIN is called the foundational identity, and it is unique for an individual, and it does not change for the lifetime of an individual.
Okay, you said that the NIN is foundation for all individuals.
Yeah.
Is a means of identification as a right citizen of this country. Now, about 140 Nigerians, 140 million Nigerians are yet to register, and some are still hoping, are still going to queue up to get registered. How could you refresh their minds on particular requirements before going to the centers?
Well, basically there are no requirements. That you just need to be a citizen of the country, and then if you are a baby, then of course we need your parents' identification. But for an adult, because you have not been captured since when you were small, then we need some evidence to show that the other parameters that you are giving us that belongs to you, like say something that will show your name, something that will give us evidence of your date of birth or things like that. But even if you don't have anything else, you can just show up and say that this is who you are, and we will record that information, and you are sure that you are not coming back again to say that you want to change that information. So usually in other claims, it's at birth that you carry out registration, and certain things do not change from that particular time. Like say your date of birth, your gender, and your parents and things like that do not really change. But in a place like Nigeria, whereby we were not doing it before, therefore you find out that there are people that are coming back to come and do modification of the information that they have given before. But what does not change is the biometrics of the individual. And once you are given that biometrics and is assigned to the national identification number, those two things do not hardly change.
You just made mention of something that just captured my attention, that there's no requirements basically, but if you're an infant, the parent's information is required.
Yeah.
So an infant can be registered right from birth.
Sure, you can register at birth. All we need is one of the parents' information and also the parents' NIN. So the parent must have registered and have a NIN, so that we can then tie the child with the parent until when the child becomes matured. Then we take the biometrics, and then we can somehow break that umbilical cord.
All right, how long does it take for this NIN to be ready?
Well, our policy says that 7 days. When you enroll, you can get the NIN in 7 days. But the type of infrastructure that we have, like 2-3 years ago, when you enroll, you get the NIN immediately. Now, because of the size of the database, we have more than 80 million records in the database. Therefore, it takes at least 24 hours. So if you register today, by the next day you will get your NIN. If you don't get it, then there may be an issue. A lot of the time that either the machine suspects that it is a double enrollment, which 95% of the time it proves that it is double enrollment, because people need to be aware that even if there is error from your previous registration, you don't just go and do another registration. Then it will use the biometrics and identify that this biometric resembles this person's and block that enrollment. So if you need to change any of your information, you carry out modification. Modification means that they will bring out your previous record and then carry out the changes that are required to happen.
Forums such as this, Mr. Abubakar, is often used to educate the public.
Sure.
Create awareness.
Yeah.
What do they stand to benefit after the registration of this name? So what are the specific benefits?
Well, first of all, that the government itself needs to know its own citizens, and that tied to the sovereignty of the nation itself. Then as a citizen also, you need the government to know who you are. It is like an insurance. If the government does not know you, there is no way that the government will plan, and therefore there is no way that it can provide services to the individual. So the benefits are a lot, and then you need it for several government services. You need it from traveling, you need it to drive, you need it to own a SIM, and then you also need it to buy a land. You need it to get into the pension, and you also need it to even pay your taxes, and finally you also need it to get into the voters register.
Does it need, or does it have any financial implication?
Enrollment for NIN is absolutely free. Right now it is free, and government have a program that we are working on that to do enrollment en masse, and within that period of time, that if someone is not enrolled in future and you are an adult, then probably you may likely to pay. But right now enrollment is free. It's free for all citizens. It's free for everyone within Nigeria. But if you are enrolling outside Nigeria, then you need to pay fees for the vendors that are helping to provide the service. But inside Nigeria, enrollment is absolutely free.
All right, we'll pause here for a while. I'll get back to you.
Thank you.
You are watching Frontiers, and my guest has been the DG and CEO of NIMC. Don't go away, the program continues shortly. Do stay. You're welcome back. All right, if for instance, an in holder is transferred to another location at his or her workplace, can the individual update such information to one's current location? For instance, for us civil servants, public servants as well, you could be transferred to a different location at any time. Could your name, registration, or information be adjusted to suit that change?
Well, when we first designed the system, we were capturing a lot of information. We were capturing up to 83 fields of data. But currently, we understood that it's better for us to concentrate on the individual. So the individual is just basic, like 10 fields of data, and those data have to do with your biometrics, and then your a label that you call your name, to non assign that this is your name, your surname, your middle name, and your first name. They are very important, because if they mix in certain other instances, it may get into problem. Of course, the gender is taken, your date of birth is also taken, then your address, your nationality, your state of origin. So those are the basic data that we take. So if you transfer to some other places, then of course you need to change your address, because if you are carrying out a service that requires to authenticate your address, then you need to update that address. But for the SIM registration that you referred to much earlier on, it's just that who the person is, that is, who are you, that what is your own name, that it should be tied to this telephone number, and also your name, your biometrics, and your picture have to be equivalent. So if you obtained maybe a SIM that your spouse must have bought for you sometimes ago, when SIM are not being registered, and now it is with you. So you need to, apart from submitting the name through your phone, you also need to go to the telcos and go and re-register, because the information they had was that of your spouse. And now that you own the phone, then you need to go and update that information, or he himself then have to then register the phone for you, because you can register up to 7 SIMs at the same time. So the basic information is that if your address changes, you can come and update your information. But any other one, that then it means that maybe there is a mistake, then it is correction that have to be done. Like, say, if we captured you as a male, then surely it is a mistake, so it has to be corrected. Or if your date of birth too, there is an error in that, because your date of birth is also unique, it's a unique day, so that also requires correction. and all of them, we call them modification, and we provide that service in all the centers that we have.
With the federal government directive for the same name linkage, how would you describe the turnout of eligible Nigerians for the exercise?
Well, there has been turnover of people, and also on our site too, we have federal government have approved more than 200 vendors to also help in having centers. So they have created centers. Then the telcos themselves also have centers in all the towns in the nation, and they have also created centers to do those enrollment. We also had different mobile enrollment kits also that can go to the people. So we have enough centers now, but Nigeria is a very big country. We are still building up and to have more and more centers, because we found out that availability and also access to the service will reduce a lot of the issues that we have been encountering on the field.
All right, so the Commission has various centers spread across 36 states of the Federation.
Yes.
That's quite commendable, but you believe with me that this is still not without challenges. We've heard people complaining about long queues. We've heard people complaining about the server. What is the Commission doing about this?
Well, you see, there are two basic services that we offer. One is the enrollment. So in the enrollment is that the major challenges that we have, just like any other Nigeria at our centers, is power, because we can't use our equipment without power
supply. And
sometimes there's also issue of telecommunication itself. That is, when the data is captured, it needs to be sent to the central system. I will not call it server, because server is being misused recently. Then the second aspect of our service is that this information that we have in the database, because that is the act that sets up says that we should create a database. It does not say that we should create server. So that is why I want you to have that differences.
Okay.
So that database need to be open for other government services and private sector to probe and verify. Okay, so that is what is being referred to, like say server is down or something, or in the parlance of the financial services, they say it has not dropped. You understand?
Exactly.
But it has not dropped. When it has not dropped, they usually tell you it's network issues, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
But then in terms of NIMC, then they will tell you that server is down. So it's a misnomer. You understand? Or recently, whereby it is being said that NIMC servers have crashed, or NIMC server is down. So that while people are enrolling and are getting their own NIN, so which server are you talking about? So there is no NIMC server that is down, no NIMC server crashed. Okay, I want you to be aware of that. But because of the nature of the service that we have several private other service providers that are providing services to us. So sometimes it may be the network, sometimes it may be human lack of patience, sometimes it may be that the database itself had an issue, but we have never had a time whereby server is down. So I want to just make that correction. So it's the service. They can say that they are unable to verify. You understand the service? It's like you use your mobile phone to do banking service. Anytime that service is not available, you can still walk to the bank, or you can still give somebody a check and he can cash the money. So the same thing with all the government services that we have. We also have alternative ways of carrying out anytime that online service is not available. There are alternatives, but majority of the time people prefer to go to town that server is down, and meanwhile there's no server that is down. That is the unfortunate truth.
But recently, because of the NIN SIM card linkage, there have been traffic. It doesn't have any negative impact on the database.
It does not. It does not. As I told you before, that even the enrollment that even in the US, that when you enroll, you wait for 7 days to get your social security number, that we were able to make it instantaneously. Sure. Right now we do it in like 24 hours. So the infrastructure is okay. We built it to cater for 100 million. Right now we are at 80 million. And also we have government approval to upgrade it. So before we reach there, we must have upgraded it to about 250 million. So we don't have issues with that. Most of the time, as I told you, our major challenge is either power or the bandwidth of the connectivity that we have, but not the infrastructure.
Taking a retrospective look of the almost 2 decades of the Commission existence, what would you say about the successes recorded so far?
Well, there are a lot of successes. We were able to build the system, and we commenced an enrollment in 2012. So this is 10 years enrollment. And by 2015, when I became DG, we had 7 million records, and we were also focusing more on the cards. Now we step back and focus on the NIN, and with that we had accelerated growth of the database. By 2015 we doubled 7 to 14 million. By 2017 we doubled the 14 to 28. 2 years ago, almost 2 years, when we have been moved to the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy, because why? The digital economy requires the unique identification that will drive it. Therefore, the minister also propelled these numbers. Right now, we enroll almost 3 million every month, and we are hoping to move it to about 5 million every month, so that we can finish the enrolling the population. So our goal is to have the enrollment of everyone. Until you have everybody, that is when you can utilize the database properly.
Well, I must confess that your successes are highly commendable, and God will strengthen you to do more.
Thank you very much.
Are there challenges that you would love to talk about?
Well, there are challenges, like I mentioned earlier, that we are trying to upgrade the system. We have gotten government approval since July last year. We are following up to get the funding. So funding is a challenge, but I don't want to call it a challenge, because it is a challenge for everyone. So that is a major challenge, but more to do with power, and then the connectivity that we talked about, and also getting people to really understand the benefits and also the need to do it, rather than to force people to enroll.
Oh wow! Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Aliyu Aziz Abubakar. We appreciate you for coming on Frontiers. Thank you for your response. Thank you for educating us.
Thank you. I look forward to meeting you again. Bye.
It's my pleasure.
Bye.
We have been taking a look at the National Identity Number Enrollment, its successes and challenges. Our guest on today's program is the Director General and CEO of the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, Aliyu Aziz Abubakar. I am Obiageli Ugoke. Bye for now.